All right, you ready?
Yep. Thank you.
My name's Erik. I am Souls.
I'm Carrie. I am the executive producer and videographer on the 52 project.
We're going to give you a little behind the scenes, a little director's cut, a little window into our lives week to week.
Each week you guys see a 3 to 4 minute video, but in reality, that's actually like 6 to 8 hours worth of filming. So there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of inside jokes. There's a lot of weirdness that goes on. There's a lot of drama that ensues. And we decided that it might be fun to let you guys into our world and give you the backstage pass and let you see what really goes on. So here we go.
Do you have a beer?
I do.
Do you have a beer?
Hope you do.
Here we go. Ooh, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was the, hold on, let me pop my top. There we go. Forrest was the first full band track that we did, right? This is a record that I really got heavy into when it came out. I loved this song, and I wanted to do it, and I felt that we could pull it off, and we tossed it together very quickly, I might add. The guys that you're watching in this video learned this song maybe a day, 2 days before that we went and started shooting. Again, we'd done a few acoustic videos that were really cool, but this is the first one where I remember looking back at it, listening to playback once we got back into the control room and going like, holy shit, I think this is going to be really cool.
As you can see, we're filming in the studio, Deschamps Studios, where Erik works, which is optimal for the sound guys, not so optimal for myself and Anisha, who also helps me film. You always want to make it look different, so I went down into the really scary, sketchy basement and found all of the lamps that I could and dragged them upstairs. I'm not an experienced videographer, and I was totally freaked out. This was the first time that we had a full band, a full group of people, a full studio worth of mics, everything set up, and I was sitting there for a moment just having a bit of a panic attack, being like, oh my god, gotta get my shit together. And for our first full big shoot, I think it worked out, and I think to this day it's one of my faves. I love the tone and the sound of it. It's such a groovy song.
Plus, look at that mature man's mustache.
Yeah.
That's a man's man.
Yeah. It can be said in most videos, Clive is the best dressed. He is constantly berating the young men
To dress better.
Yeah,
but I had my Canadian tuxedo. That's still a tuxedo now.
My fingertips and my lips, they burn from the sick.
When we were young. This is probably the second song that I wrote for this project, which I originally thought I'd be writing new tracks for every week, which is a very stupid, unrealistic thing to say. But no, it is one of my favorite songs that I've written. I was really excited to do it, and this is the video where Clive's famous song, at least in our circle of friends, in the Hyde Park we drink rosé. And what a lot of people don't seem to realize that it was totally off the cuff. We don't want to get into the whole story, but the two of us grew up in the HP in Hyde Park in Toronto, and Clive likes to chirp us very hard for that, as if it's like the Orange County. And so he's got this ongoing dialogue, and
he makes up songs about it.
So in the intro, what you hear in the Hyde Park we drink rosé, that was the definition of improvised and off the cuff, and to this day we still sing it. We all still sing it.
Clive actually doesn't really call Erik, he calls him HP, so that just gives you a little bit of insight.
And this is the HP Super Pitch. So
Clive was gracious enough to let us film in his penthouse, which was really nice.
This was very exciting for me. I think I finished writing this song the morning that we left. I remember sitting in this exact seat and playing this bridge and asking for your input and for how we could get this bridge working. And then we literally finished writing the bridge, finished packing, and left within an hour. So what you're seeing in this video is the definition of brand new. Like, what I was playing and singing at this point was hours old, but I think it turned out really well. I'm really excited. It's one of my favorite videos, and I'm excited to take it to the studio and do it for real,
Flush
though.
it out.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is Heartbreaker by will.i.am. This is at our place. Erik walking from our front door down the side of our house and into our backyard. The funny part about, not funny at the time, was for a good 30 minutes, there were these 3 women who were going through our recycling bin looking for beer bottles and things that they could take back. And I actually even went into the house and gave them some of our empties. But then I asked them to sort of move along because we were filming. And first time I asked, I went back in the house, got my camera gear on, opened the door. They were right in the shot. Stopped the camera. This happened 3 times. I eventually had to get my, what do we call it? A serious face or my bitch face? My bitch face on. I had to get my bitch face on and say sternly, you need to get off of the front of my property so I can film in front of it. Needless to say, they didn't like it, but hey, I gave them my empties, whatever. And I think it turned out well.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing was we actually planned on doing this, I think this was a Tuesday. We planned on doing it on Monday, and we went out, we had everything ready, and for whatever reason we went back inside and didn't do it. But just by chance, by total chance, we came back out the next day, and there were these yellow...
They're like seeds that the trees drop in the spring, and like everyone comments on this video being like, oh my god, it's so cool that like the whole thing is like showered in this like neon green, which is totally not anything that we planned.
No, a total fluke, and that's I think what a lot of this project is whether it's performance based or where you are or what happens around you. Most of what you see really is off the cuff, totally spontaneous. People always say like, oh, how did you pick the right day to do this? It was like they just happened to fall. We would have done it if it was mud, or we would have done it if it was leaves, or we would have done it regardless. But this is what it was today.
The biggest bummer was sweeping all that shit up the next day.
Yeah, that was a blast. It was a great time.
Take it slow if we can make it work. 'Cause we just can't throw the love down in the dirt.
So, this is Never Wanted Your Love. I guess you should start this one.
Yeah, I'm always about trying to find different ways of shooting things or making things look different. You know, I was really interested in trying to find a location for us to shoot. So I contacted Aaron, the owner of Charlie, one of my favorite Toronto boutiques. It's such a beautiful shop. It's like right by Trinity Bellwoods Park on Queen West. And the owner, Aaron, is such a sweetheart. Anyway, got in touch with her. So we collaborated with Marta, who actually used to be our neighbor. She's a dancer as well as a singer. And then we also went on a search and met Sarah.
Sarah was a pleasure to work with, just in terms of it taking no effort. I felt like a schmuck most of the time. She was one where I could just tell her something and she immediately knew what to do. Hey Sarah, I'm looking for this at this part. Boom, there you go. Like again, what you hear, that these violin solos, they're based on what come on the record, but they're very much Sarah.
The funny thing about this was trying to get a take where people weren't like rubbernecking and gawking through the window. There were people who were like fully just, what's going on in there? Getting their face all up in there, but by the same token, like totally understandable.
Yeah, if I heard a violin play like that,
it was beautiful music, and I would totally look over, but maybe because I'm like so awkward, I wouldn't. But it's great, and we got to hang out with Aaron afterwards. It was a great experience, and I think the result was beautiful.
This is Get Lucky. This song had come out, two weeks before we did this?
Yeah.
And I love this song. From the moment that I heard it, it had all my sensibilities. Nile Rodgers is...
I've always been a massive Daft Punk fan.
It just, everything came together. It was like, we have to do this, and why don't we turn this around real quick? So within 2 weeks, I think everybody here got told we were doing the song a few days before that we went into the studio. We all came together, and I think we did something pretty cool. That being said, it was the definition of stressful. So it was a hard thing to do. It was a hard thing to do well, and I do think we pulled it off. It came out really well. It's our most successful video.
So that morning, I was kind of just like, do we really, and this is the conversation that we have all the time, do we really have to shoot at the studio? He says, yes, when it's a big group of people, I kind of understand it. And I immediately called on McQuaid and was like, do you have crazy, like, colored lights for, stage performances? I'm like, yeah. So I went down and rented a bunch of lights to put in the room to just sort of give it a different vibe, because it is Daft Punk, it is a little funky. So Nish and I got in there and it sort of cast this really cool purple vibe, and I think it looks really cool. Erik wasn't gonna do the vocoder, and he told me that in the morning, and I was like, we are not doing a Daft Punk song unless you sound like a robot at some point. So
we made some calls. My good friend Hayden, who's also one of the engineers who works on this stuff with me, he was the engineer on this night. It turned out really, really well. It did turn out well, but I was skeptical in the morning, but it obviously sounds fantastic.
Other fun fact is sometimes, like, every time I see it, I see like Erik doing this kind of weird movement with his hand, and I was like, what? Why are you doing this weird, like, T-Rex hand thing? And he's like, I'm holding my pick. So
it's multitasking, people.
No, yeah, I mean, I totally was.
It's a pick. I gotta do two things at once. Shut up, everybody! Shut up.
I get it. It's cool.
There you go.
Love you're giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come to.
Is that a horse? What is that? I will strike you in front of your peers. You ready?
Oh my god, you totally freaked out the dog. I want to meet you. My baby.
Hey. You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, you ready? Okay, stop. No, because now we're wasting time. Okay. I'm Erik, and I'm Souls. Fuck.